African Americans make about 13% of the American population, the United States of America population. 13%, which works out to be 40 odd million. They also make 35% of the prison population in America. In Australia, it's even worse. In Australia, we have 3% of our population indigenous or Aboriginal Australians, but they make 30% of our prison population. These numbers are really, really bad. Something is really wrong. Part of this Black Lives movement that's happening across the world, people are protesting, people are rioting. I've taken it upon myself to actually get informed and learn about what's actually happening in terms of statistics and the injustices that are happening in the world. It's the least thing I can do. Knowledge is power, and I think the least you can do in all of this is to actually get informed and make yourself aware. I told you guys a story a few videos ago about me going to a football match here in Australia. There was an away side from interstate, from Perth, and our side from this city. I was sitting about 20 rows back from the boundary. The play was basically right next to that boundary. There was a stoppage and there was a ball thrown up by the referee. And the ruckman, or the center position, I guess, if you can call it, kind of like in basketball, it's the tallest position. From the other team, from the away team, was a fella called Nat Nui. He was an Aboriginal Australian who was an exceptional player, like a superstar player, one of the best players in the league. And he dominated this stoppage and tipped the ball into his team's advantage. They ran on and I think they kicked the goal. But during that stoppage, a lady maybe 10 rows in front of me, so she was 10 rows away from the play, very, very close to the play. She was a fat individual, so she was sitting on 2 chairs, and she was white. And what came out of her mouth was practically astonishing. Up until this day, today, I have moments where I think about it and I'm actually ashamed that I didn't do anything. What she did was, she leaned forward and started hurling abuse at this Aboriginal player. Stuff like, get that black gorilla, get that black gorilla, you effing gorilla. Now, there's no doubt Nat Nui heard all of this. What's even more unbelievable is that the stadium was packed. There was people everywhere. Thousands of people would have heard this abuse, and no one said anything. I was standing there, I was in my early 20s, and I was shocked to hear this, and no one really joined in to the abuse that this lady was putting out. But nobody stopped her, nobody said anything. The security guards who were near the pitch didn't say anything. The play just kind of resumed. And all these years on, I have moments, every time I hear about racism, I think about this incident. That's basically the one incident that's kind of stuck in my mind. I wish I could go back in time and I would have said something. I would have stood up and said, "Shut your mouth, woman. You know, how dare you say that?" I would have done something. I would have approached the security guard that was near that sort of area, and I would have demanded that she was thrown out of the game. So part of this protest, there's a lot of information. The whole world seems to be protesting. And I know a lot of us white people who are living in very, very good conditions, we can simply go, this doesn't affect me. I can continue on living. You know, these riots are, you know, really bad. We should just, you know, send in the National Guard and you know, suspend these riots and blah, 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 blah. I think if we're going to have a revolution, if we're going to have change, we need to, number one, get informed as the world and, you know, do the simple things on the individual level. So if you hear something like that, stand up and say something, because this is not right. Nat Nui was a young, early 20s guy, and he heard all of this. And I'm sure this is not just one incident for him. It's day in, day out. The stats that I opened up this video with 3% of the population Aboriginal in Australia, and they make 30% in jail. That's a screw up for the system, man. That's not a random figure. This has been like this for a long time. I'm not sure what we can do to make this better, but we're not doing enough. That's what I think. In America, the same thing. The prison system is privatized. There's incentive for people to go to jail. You know, they profit out of it. And to know that 30% or 35%, almost 40% of the American population in prison is African American, that's shocking. That is shocking. We are screwing up. We are being racist. This world is racist. I thought racism wasn't as prolific as it is. But yeah, there are massive traces all over the world, and these protests are justified. In 1992, Rodney King was basically battered by American police officers. Rodney King was doing something wrong. He was speeding, he was drunk, he got pulled over, and they just bashed the shit out of him. 20 years on, George Floyd gets murdered by a police officer. Thousands of people die in police custody every year. There's something wrong there. There's something really wrong there. There needs to be an education program. There needs to be some sort of restructuring of police force around the world. Something needs to happen, because we can't have police killing people. I know in America it's really difficult because everyone has guns, and police officers are basically, you know, in a job where they could lose their life every day. So they're doing an important job, and I'm sure there are officers around the world who do the right thing, but killing somebody should not be an option. There should be a system where, you know, the bad guy gets put away, but it can't be to such an extent where there's huge racism in prisons. Anyway, guys, I've taken it upon myself to get educated about this issue. Every day I look to learn a little bit about what's happening, and just to bring awareness, because if I get more aware, if I get more informed, you know, I can influence my private circle around me, my family, my friends, and that's how change happens. And then my friends hear a bit of information about this topic, and then they spread it a little bit, and so, you know, information is power. So I think that's what we should all do. We should just get more informed and you know, be aware of what's happening. It is 5 o'clock in the morning, guys. It is freezing again. Yesterday, after the workout, I jumped in the car and tried to drive away, and the whole car was frosted over. I couldn't even open the windows. So it's really, really cold. Yesterday, I messed up a 190 kilo back squat. Lost my balance, had to dump the weight backwards. I hadn't failed a lift in a while. I'm still sick, as you can hear, like I'm still coughing. I went to a coughing fit during work yesterday, so I'm clearly not, you know, there. So I can't really do a lot of volume in terms of, you know, doing heaps of squats today. But I can go a little bit heavier, I guess, and just do singles, basically, heavy singles. So I'll do that today as well. But today I'm going to start off with front squats, and I plan to hit, I don't know, 140. And when I hit the top ceiling weight of the front squat, then I'll just transition into the back squat and finish the day off with back squats. So that's what I'm doing today. Let's see how we go today. I've got half an hour to work out before I need to get out of here. All right, let's do it. It's so cold you guys can actually see my breath, I think. Man, one thing about training at home is you're basically exposed to the elements. There's nothing in between you and whatever the day is throwing at you. But still, I prefer it this way. The convenience of having a gym at home is it's awesome. All right, 80 kilos. Alright, we've got 100 in the bar now. I've been sick now for 10 days. And the symptoms are really mild. It's really strange. Like, I don't feel unwell. I just have no voice and I have this cough. The worst thing is at night. Like, I developed this dry cough, which drives my family insane because I'm coughing like crazy, waking everyone up. But then in the morning it becomes productive, productive cough, and I cough all the shit out, and like, I'm a lot better in the earlier parts of the day. But no fever, no body aches, nothing like that. I've had the corona test, come back negative, and so it just must be like a cold, like a mild, annoying cold. And that's preventing me from going, balls to the wall with training. I really want to train properly. Like, this is kind of like just greasing the groove. Like, it's not really pushing. All right, let's hit 100. $120. I was talking to a colleague last night at work, and we were talking about racism, especially in Australia, and she feels really strongly about the injustices that that are in the system towards Aboriginal people, Indigenous Australians. And she made a comment that kind of resonated with me. She said basically, how many Aboriginal words do you know? I said, I don't know any. You know, and in Australia we live in a multicultural society, right? There's everyone here, you know, all Europeans, Africans, all sorts. And I don't know a single Aboriginal word. I know a few Italian words, a few Greek words, a few Russian words. I don't know any French words. I know maybe one or two Spanish words, but I don't know any Aboriginal words. That's interesting. Most people don't. It's like our brain, our society hasn't recognized them, you know, we don't value them as much. And there's just another example of how it's like a symptom of the greater problem at hand. It's really interesting. Like, you know, the conversation took a while between me and her, and she said we need to do much more to, you know, help these people. The health is really bad. Their life expectancy is like 20 years shorter. Sometimes even more. Drug and alcohol is a big problem. Diabetes is a big problem. The system is failing these people big time. And yeah, I don't know what the solution is, but I think something needs to happen here. They're struggling. They're really struggling, and you know, I don't know. I feel like the system is not doing enough. I don't know what the solution is, but it's been a long time. We've had many opportunities to fix this, and I know my country here throws quite a lot of money at the problem, but I think our approach is completely wrong. So I don't know. I don't know. Instead of forcing them to, you know, assimilate into our, you know, white society and the way of life we have, I think we should come down to their level a little bit, or, you know, not come down to the level, but go to their level and realize what they want and what they expect out of life. You know, it's an interesting topic. It's a topic that for some reason is not front and center. It's only front and center at the moment because what's happening will happen with George Floyd, and you know, the whole world's on their feet protesting. But I think there needs to be more awareness and more education about the topic, definitely. All right, guys, 140 front squat. I've loaded 150 to the bar. As you guys know already, my training is completely auto-regulated. I put in what I can on the day. I try and leave, you know, nothing in the tank to a degree. I'll leave some a little bit because I don't want to overreach and hurt myself. But you know, if I'm feeling good on the day, you know, put a bit more weight on the bar and do whatever I can. Usually, in my typical training recently, I do a whole lot of warm-up sets of 20. Get a pump going, and then I hit a top set, and then I call it a day in terms of squats. But recently, because of the sickness, you know, last few days I've kind of hit a top set, and then I call it a day. That's it. So basically for the last week, last 10 days, all I've done is squat, front and back squat. Just have to let the system recover and catch up to whatever this virus is. Alright, so that's 150 on the bar now. Let's hit this. And then also a big part of my training is speed. Speed of the bar. That's what I go on. If the bar slows down and I can't accelerate through and it's kind of a bit of a grinder, I'll stop. Like, I don't wait for a fail. I don't wait for form breakdown. You know, speed will tell you where you are on the scale, you know. If it's taking you 3 seconds to lift the bar, it's probably too heavy. If it's taking you a second, it's probably not heavy enough. So you just kind of find that groove. One of you guys said on here that, you know, a true PR should be a lift around a 4-second mark of lifting. I mean, 4 seconds to spend straining lifting is you know, that sounds about right of being a true PR. So I don't want to get near that. That's not something you know, I want to do every day. Alright, that was thoracic rounding there, so that's enough. I felt the weight kind of transfer onto my tippy toes, and you know, my front rack was getting challenged, so that's plenty for me today. Now I'm going to just transition to a back squat. I won't even back off the weight. I'll get this for a single back squat, and then I'll continue up in weight and see where I end up with the back squat. It's incredible how strong the hips are. Moving the bar from the front rack position to the back squat position, man, just that angle, increased angle of the torso engages the glutes. Whew. The bar feels so much lighter when you got those powerhouses at the back helping propel you forward. Incredible. "24 minutes in. All right, we're good for time. So 180 on the bar now. So cold. All right, 180. Calling it quits there. The bar slowed down a little bit for whatever reason. Just feel like I'm not warm. I feel like I haven't done enough reps to be handling this weight. Anyway, that's it. Just you know, routine session. Gonna go to work now. That's basically it, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow for another. Actually, tomorrow I don't have work, so I'm gonna sleep in a little bit and you know, maybe the sun will come out and warm this place up a bit. But anyway, I expect tomorrow I'll do a bit more volume. I'm really keen to get into some training properly. Catch you guys. Black Lives Matter.